out here in the studio.
This is a blast. I should do this more often.
You almost should say Angel should leave more often, but she really shouldn't. She's gone a lot.
Well, you never need somebody.
Very nice to have you along with us.
You.
Nick Rockwell, Carpet Direct, serving the Front Range of Colorado for several years and taking great care of your customers. Give out your phone number, if you will, Nick.
It's 720-903-0845.
All right. And Nick, you're a married guy, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. So this probably has absolutely nothing to do with you. But I am single and came across an article actually in Success Magazine that caught my attention. And the title is Ending a Relationship? Here are 6 ways to break up better. So it's not 50 ways to leave your lover, but it might be 6 ways to stay friends or at least have a healthy resolution. Margie Worrell is the author. She says, can you recall a time when you stayed in a relationship long past its expiration date? If you can, you're in good company. A lot of people struggle with ending relationships, even the ones that are difficult, right? And it's difficult because romantic relationships, partnerships, business relationships, all of them involve personal feelings, right? People say it's not personal, it's business. Guess what? It's personal. We make our decisions, Nick, on a personal level.
Yes, we do.
Right? So if there's no magic to ending a personal relationship or any kind of relationship, there are some things that at least we can, that can enable all parties to come out on the other side less hurt and more whole, which allows the healing to take place much quicker. And who knows, you know, here at Experience Pros, I mean, we've had, over the years, we've probably had 1,000 people come and go through our doors. And, you know, we realize that our services are not for everyone and they're not forever. Right. But during the time that people are with us, we love serving them and we have a great time. And when they decide it's time to move on and go to a different direction in their marketing and or business development, I think the thing that surprises them the most is that we give them our blessing.
I would agree.
Right. That we say, you know, hey, is there anything that we can do to help you make that transition to whatever it is you're doing next?
Since the day I've met you guys have always said, you know, what can we do to help you? Even, you know, if we can't, you know, is there somebody we can introduce you to?
Right.
It's all about the help.
Right. So the first step in this article, and again, the article from success.com, and it's ending a relationship and how to break up better, right? Is number one, set your highest intention. And the article says, as human beings, we're wired for belonging and connection. Cutting off connections requires a lot of courage because it risks a lot of fallout. But ask yourself, what do I want in my business, career, partnership, marriage? And can this relationship move me towards it? Writing down those reflections in a journal can help you flesh out the thoughts so that when you're contemplating, this really isn't going to work, right? You can at least have a solid thought process of why.
Touching back with what Marilyn said, make a list.
Make a list. Absolutely. Absolutely. The next thing is to be willing to embrace discomfort. And Nick, as a military man, I know that you lived in that world for a lot of years.
Yes, sir.
Right? You know, there are a lot of things that are not comfortable.
Not at all.
And yet, you have to be willing to embrace those things in order to get through them.
You just embrace, you know, whatever comes at you and you make do and move on.
Well, so many of us choose to seek pleasure and avoid pain at all cost. And that's not a real world scenario because the real world involves pain. It involves, challenges and struggles and sometimes disagreements and sometimes, collateral damage.
There's a phrase in the military that says embrace the suck. And it just means that, you know, things are going to be hard and just to embrace it because they're sometimes unavoidable and to just, you know, keep your head down and keep moving. Eventually it will stop.
Yeah. The article says, ask yourself what lays at stake here if I stick with the status quo and let my fear of feeling uncomfortable call the shots. And so embrace that lack of comfort, and make sure that you know that, when we go through challenges, when there are difficult times, the fact of the matter is that we can and should be okay through that. That we can. It starts here in your mind, right, and it travels down to your heart. I tell people all the time, the longest journey you'll ever take is the 18 inches from your head to your heart, right? Here's the next thing. If you're going through a breakup or a separation or a dissolution of a business or a partnership or whatever it may be, take responsibility. There are no victims and there are no villains. Just own your role.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes when relationships turn sour, you want to lay the blame on others, to cast ourselves as the victim and others are the villain. Right. And that happens.
Sometimes you just got to take a step back and take a look at yourself.
That's exactly right. Take 100% responsibility for your failure or what you did to bring to the table, to lead you to the point. And then don't crucify yourself either. Just own it. Right. Just take it, take that, take ownership of that. Be civil no matter what. Have character no matter what. And then go high. Take the high road no matter what. Because you're not, I saw a conversation on Facebook between two friends, and these two friends have polar opposite political agendas, right?
Yes.
And ideologies. And
that happens these days.
And it does. This is America, and we live in a completely polarized 50-50, 51-49, whatever, kind of a society. But to take the gloves off and take cheap shots is, it's inexcusable. And I see that a lot. The next thing is to practice compassion. You got to remember, at the end of the day, the person that you once loved them for a lot of reasons.
There were a lot of reasons,
right?
And what were those reasons?
And the person that you once chose to work with, or the business that you once chose to engage in, all of those had your seal of approval at one point. So be compassionate, because those are people behind the businesses, behind the relationships, behind the words and the romance. It's a bigger scale, if you will, or a bigger stage. Here's the next one. I found this one interesting. Don't should your relationships. That's weird English, so let me read to you what it says. When ending a relationship, many people struggle with a lot of guilt. It says, when my sister was confiding in me she was considering ending her engagement, she says it would just kill him, and I'd just die if I had to do that. I pointed out to her his heart would continue to beat, and quite frankly, her fiance deserved better than to marry someone who felt the way that she did.
That's a good point.
Those are two sisters talking to each other in candid ways, right? Invariably, the word should enters those conversations. I should just go ahead with it. But here's the deal. If your main reason for staying in a relationship is because you think you should, rather than because it's what you truly want, ask yourself, is what I'm getting from staying in this relationship greater than what I'm giving up? I say this to Angel all the time, and it shouldn't imply in any way, shape, or form that there's any kind of breakup going on. We're solid and strong as ever. But here's the thing that I say to her about the shoulds. If fear is the only thing holding you back, you should proceed with reckless abandon, right? And that's for doing the right thing, not being fearful and letting fear paralyze you. And then finally, focus on the future. If you have an instinctual negative bias, you tend to focus on the right here, the right now. Woe is me. If you focus on the future and realize that it's going to be better for everybody, you'll get through whatever that breakup may be in a better way. Nick Rockwell and Eric Kramer here on the Experience Pros Radio Show. We will return to wrap this program up right after this.
The Experience Pros, revolutionizing the way people